Hello everyone and welcome back again to my channel. So today I'm going to be making this peplum jacket. It has a tie at the front, so you can either tie it to the front or to the back. It's very versatile, and if you're interested in making something like this, please stick around and watch right to the very end of the video. Thank you. Alright, so I've got my two pieces of fabric cut out already, so this is going to be used for the front and the back pattern at the same time. So for the width, the measurement is 12 inches, and then for the length is 18 inches. So the front and the back are going to be cut at the same time. So I'm just going to go ahead and pin the fabric pieces together so they do not shift, and then I'm just going to go ahead with my measurements. If this is your first time coming to my channel, I welcome you on board. If you're not subscribed, please consider subscribing. I have a ton of videos available, so please do give me a thumbs up before you finish watching this video. Thank you. So the first measurement is going to be my neckline, so which is going to be 2.5 inches for the neck width, and then the neck depth that I'm going to be using for the front piece is going to be 4.5 inches. So then I'm just going to go ahead and connect that using my French curve, and then once I've finished doing that, then I'll turn my attention to my shoulder measurement. So my shoulder measurement is going to be 7 inches from the folded edge, and then once I have that 7 inches, I'm going to come down by 1 inch for the shoulder slant and then connect that line to the neckline. So the next thing is the armhole measurement. So from the shoulder slant, I'm going to be using 7.5 for the armhole, and then from that measurement, then I need to find the midpoint of that measurement and then mark that midpoint on the fabric as well. So on that midpoint, I'm going to come in by 1/2 inch, and I'm going to be using that as a guide for drawing out the underarm curve. So next thing, you want to put your bust measurement on the armhole measurement point. So mine is 8.5 inches, and then you want to put it on the same line as your armhole, and then you want to use the 3 points as your guide to draw your armhole curve. So from the shoulder, you want to measure your bust line. So my bust line is 10 inches from the shoulder, so you just want to do the same thing, and then you want to draw a straight line across on that bust line. So the next thing is the waist measurement. So the waist measurement is, for me, is 7.5 plus 1 inch for the darts, so I'm going to be using 8.5. Next thing is just to connect the side lines together, so the underarm with the bust line and also the waistline. And then after doing that, you want to just go ahead and add your sewing allowance to the sides. I'm going to be using an inch sewing allowance, so you want to go ahead and do the same thing. So once I've done that, then I'm going to just go ahead and mark the neckline for the back piece, which is going to be 2.5 inches in depth, and then I'm going to cut out the pattern. So for the dart measurement at the bottom of the bodice is the distance between the bust points divided by 2. So I'm going to be using So I'm 4.5 inches, so I'm going to place that there, and then make sure I mark it on the other side as well. So from that point, then you want to go up by 4.5 inches and mark that point there, and then you want to go 1/2 inch either side to mark where your dot is going to be, and then repeat that for the other for the front and the back pieces. So here I'm just going ahead to cut the front piece into two because it's going to be like an open front. So just so I'm just going to cut that into two, and then I'm going to sew the dots. So to sew the dots, you want to pinch the fabric together like so, and make sure you're sewing on the V lines right up to the apex where your measurement is. So now I'm going ahead to pin the pieces together right side to right side, pin them at the shoulders and the sides, and then just take that to the sewing machine. Okay, so the pieces have been sewn together now. So for the facing, I'm just going to be bias taping all the way around the front, the neckline, and also the underarm area. Okay, so I have finished doing the bias taping all the way around, and it's looking pretty neat at the moment, if I do say so myself. So now I'm going to switch my attention to the peplum area, the waistband, the peplum, and all of that jazz. Alright, now for the peplum bit, I'm going to be using, I want it to be really full, so I'm going to be using 360 times 4. So I'm going to be cutting out 360 pieces by 4 times. So the measurement is going to be so now the measurement is for my waist is 30 inches, and then I'm going to be dividing that by 16, which is going to give me 1.87 in circumference. So I'm going to round that up and be using 2 inches. So then that 2 inches is what I'm going to be using, and I'm going to be cutting out 4 different pieces so that I have a full effect on the peplum. So with the paper that I'm using here, so I've folded it into 4. So I'm going to be using the 2 inches like I said. So I folded it into 4. So on the folded edge, so I'm just going to mark 2 inches either sides, and then draw that in a curve to connect. And then from that 2 inches point, I want the peplum to be about 7 inches long, not longer than that. That's also including sewing allowance. So I'm going to measure from that point, from the 2 inches point, the measurement for my peplum, which is going to be 7 inches. So I'm just going to take that 7 inches and go all the way around until the other edge, and then draw it, connect the dots. Okay, I have this. I'm just going to cut that out, and once I cut that out, I'm going to use this as a template to cut out my pieces of fabric for the peplum bit of the jacket. So if you don't want yours to be as full, you can either do a 360 peplum or a 720 peplum. I'm going to be putting all the measurements, how you can figure out the measurement for other sizes that you might want, in the description box. Now, so here I've got the pattern cut out, so it should have cut out in one, but I guess I didn't fold it properly. So I've got my fabric folded already, as you can see, and that's already fold. I'm gonna fold it into 4 like so, and then I'm going to place my pattern at the corner edge, the folded edge like so, and then trace that out. Then I'm gonna cut out the first piece. So remember, I'm going to be cutting out 4 of these different pieces, and so this is the first one that I'm cutting out, and then I'm just going to carry on and cut out the other 3. So this is just for you to see what it's going to look like once you cut out your first piece. Yes, so it should come out in a circular shape like this, and then we just need to snip it on one side and then sew the rest of the pieces together to form one long piece. For the tie belt at the waist, I have cut out two different pieces, identical pieces. They are 5 inches wide, but they've been folded on each side. So after folding, they are about 2 inches wide, and they are quite long, 70 inches long. So the main bodice will be sandwiched between the two straps. So that's the reason for having two identical straps. So before attaching the straps to the main bodice, I've just gone ahead and marked the halfway point so that I know where to attach the straps. So mark the halfway point and also the halfway point on the straps, and then use that as a guide to attach the straps to the bodice. So because it's going to be two straps, so I'm going to sandwich the bodice in between the two straps, and I will be sewing on the folded line. So I'm going to be sewing from one end of the strap all the way through to the other end of the strap. So you want to make sure that you pin the straps together as well, and you want to sew on the folded lines all the way through to the end of the straps. Alright, so now that the straps are in place, it is time for me to sandwich the peplum in between the straps. So this is going to be a little bit tricky, but you want to take your time to make sure that everything is where they're supposed to be. So now I've already got the peplum to size, so it's going to be from one edge of the bodice to the other edge of the bodice. So make sure it doesn't go beyond that. So then I'm just going to pin that in between the two straps, and then making sure that all the rough edges are captured inside the two straps. Pin everything in place, and then sew everything together, and then you want to carry on sewing until you've sewn the ends of the straps as well. Okay, so once you finish sewing all of that together, then your top is ready. So I hope you have enjoyed that tutorial, and I hope you have found it really useful. If you have, don't forget to give me a thumbs up and also leave me a comment just to say hi in the comment section. Thank you, and I will see you on the next tutorial.